from Mike Griffiths and others, which is housing and the directly related issue of homelessness. Let me first start by saying that when I first moved to Torrance in the mid '90s, I would never see any homeless in Torrance. Torrance was one of the reasons why I moved to Torrance is because it's such a safe community to raise a family. And I know that Torrance, like every other community, throughout the state, has been seeing an increase in the homeless population. According to all of the policy experts, people that spend their lives studying the issue of homelessness, the number one driver of the increasing number of homelessness, of the homeless, is the cost of housing. It's the cost of housing where people are, one illness away or one job loss away from not being able to keep up with their rent, often, ending up having to sleep on other people's couches, or too often people ending up living in their cars or their vehicles. And when you combine that with issues of mental illness or drug addiction, we often see too many people ending up on our streets. In fact, I want to address one of the situations here in Torrance, in this community, is the Skyline Mobile Home Park. The Skyline Mobile Home Park, there was a change in ownership, I think, 2 years ago? 3 years ago? 2 years ago, yeah. And because of the change in ownership, the new owner has been jacking up basically the land rental fee upon which the mobile homes are located. And Skyline Mobile Home Park, right on PCH, right across the street from the Trader Joe's in South Torrance. The residents, they're afraid. They're afraid that, especially the seniors living on fixed income, they're afraid that they're going to be losing their homes and adding more to the homeless population. It's a sad fact that the fastest growing segment of our population that are becoming homeless are seniors. And so that is the reason why, the state has been pushing to build more housing. It's a simple, supply and demand picture overall. But you're hearing a lot more people talking about the need to build more housing. I know that when I had a town hall up in Palos Verdes a few weeks ago, we had a Boeing engineer, a young woman in her 20s, who born and raised in the South Bay, and she said that, I am not going to be able to afford to buy a home, in the community that I grew up in. And I think a lot of our kids and our grandkids are feeling the same way. How are we ever going to be able to afford to live in Torrance, in a community like Torrance, unless we inherit, the home from their parents or their family members. So that's been a big push from the state to build more housing, but that's often come at the expense of local control. And so I've been working with Mike Griffiths and others who have been championing, the balancing act. How do we build more housing while at the same time allowing local cities and communities to be able to exercise the local control so that you can decide how and where to build more housing? An example of that was Senate Bill 9. Senate Bill 9 was a bill that was proposing to allow multi-unit housing on single-family lots. I believe that those decisions should be made by the community and not a one-size-fits-all solution imposed from Sacramento. When I sat on this dais as a member the Torrance Planning Commission. I know that we spent a lot of time talking about the lot splits, especially in charming neighborhoods like Old Torrance, where we want to preserve that character and the quality of life of communities like Old Torrance, and we don't want to see all these multi-unit housing, undermining the charm of neighborhoods like Old Torrance. So that's why I've been trying to pursue those twin goals of supporting building more housing to try to address the housing affordability issue, but at the same time, not at the expense of local control. Third, before I open it up for our discussion, is crime.